We begin today with a new fight against NSA snooping. This one is bringing Brazil and the European Union together, literally connecting the two regions of the globe. The groups just announced an agreement in Brussels to build an undersea communications cable. These are the submarine cables that currently carry internet traffic around the world. The proposed underwater route would look like this, traveling under the depths of the ocean from Lisbon, Portugal to Fortaleza, Brazil. The line would reduce the country's reliance on U.S. cables after word got out of NSA spying on international leaders, including our allies. Brazilian President Dilma Rousseff has been vocal about respecting privacy rights. Here she is speaking about the issue yesterday.
I believe this is a policy that if we adopt it in a concrete way, and Brazil will make every effort in this direction, that we will be giving a major contribution to sustainable and safe relations between our countries.
The cable is estimated to cost $185 million. It's another example of the fallout after leaks from former NSA contractor Edward Snowden revealing a mass government spying program. I was joined earlier by political commentator Sam Sachs, who filled us in on the latest with this underwater cable.
Yeah, you can think of it as kind of a coalition of countries that are being spied on. The U.S. has for a while been the chief administrator of the World Wide Web. If you look at a lot of the traffic is carried through by U.S. tech companies. A lot of the infrastructure, those fiber optic cables that you showed that carry the internet traffic around the world, a lot of them run through the United States. So the U.S. has been kind of this de facto administrator of the internet, which hasn't been a big problem for all these countries. I mean, the U.S. was basically a pretty good this was a good role for the United States, which has often preached openness in the internet and against censorship. But since these NSA disclosures, it's completely reversed that role. And the world has seen that the United States, as well as its Five Eyes partners, the spying partners, the UK, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, have been abusing this role in administering the internet. And they're spying on not just legitimate targets, but entire domestic populations. And so you see these countries that aren't members of the Five Eyes, that have been spied upon, like Brazil, that are trying to forge connections of their own to kind of carve the United States and other spying allies out of the World Wide Web.
Yeah, they're upset about it, and we see that they're taking action. I was doing some research on this and saw some people skeptical that this is really going to stop the NSA from spying if they really wanted to. Could they intercept these lines if they wanted to get a hold of the information? I mean, if they spend millions of dollars on this, is that a guarantee?
I mean, yeah, they can intercept the line. Sure. It's a lot easier, of course, to tap into a fiber optic cable right in your own backyard, and that's where a lot of these cables were running in the United States. We know that the UK is doing this a lot. They're just cutting right into the cables that are running off the coast of the UK, siphoning off huge amounts of data and sharing that with the NSA and everyone. But conceivably, yeah, the NSA could send a submarine to the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, find this new $185 million cable or something they're building, and tap right into it. And it's been documented going all the way back to the 90s when the internet and these fiber optic cables started proliferating around the world, that the NSA was experimenting with doing exactly that, the same sort of activity of going to the bottom of the ocean and putting in secret taps into these cables.
Well, it places a hurdle there, I guess. I want to ask you, because we saw some leaders speaking out against the spying, NSA spying, amid the revelations from the former NSA contractor Edward Snowden. Beyond this building of this fiber optic cable, we're seeing this as one step. What are some other steps that other countries are taking?
Well, we've heard leaders like Dilma Rousseff talk about completely walling off the internet within their own country. So say I live in Brazil and I have Gmail. If I need to access my Gmail, my data automatically leaves Brazil because Google doesn't have any data centers in Brazil. It has to go to the nearest data center. But Brazil's talking about saying, hey, Google, if you want to do business with us in Brazil, you have to come to Brazil and build these data centers so that people's data stays within the country. So this could be the future. You could see countries requiring these tech companies to build data centers within their countries so that they can better protect protect their citizens' privacy. But there are a lot of concerns what effect this could have on the internet, this sort of balkanization, breaking up of the internet. You also see countries in the EU putting up warning messages when people are on the internet if their data is leaving the country and going somewhere that leaves it vulnerable to NSA spying. So there's a lot of other efforts that you see fundamentally challenging U.S. role in being the chief steward of the internet.
I want to ask you about that, because it sounds like these data centers are an integral part of the internet in the way it works throughout the world. So how can these efforts, this fiber optic cable, one of them among others that you mentioned, how could it change the internet as we know it today?
Well, if we're moving from a U.S.-centric internet to a more decentralized global internet, that in itself is a fundamental change in the way the internet has worked. If tech companies now have to move their data centers to compete for business in these other countries that are wary of NSA spying, that's going to require a lot of investment and a lot of cost up front and change the way these tech companies are doing business. And this kind of fractured, balkanized internet is completely different than the free-flowing internet that we're used to and that we've had. It could present some new opportunities for people to better protect the privacy of their citizens and to offer some new innovation within other countries and new tech companies rise up. But it also has some pitfalls, as more repressive regimes could use the excuse of walling off their internet to spy on their own citizens, to censor the internet as well. So the kind of higher ground the U.S. had in promoting a free and open internet has been lost as a result of these NSA revelations, and it's kind of given these more authoritarian regimes a tool to push back and put in more censorship.
Interesting. The internet times are a-changing, I guess. We'll see how this plays out. Thanks, Sam. Very interesting. That was political commentator Sam Sachs.